Hey everybody, welcome back to 3-Day Weekend. You got Chris here today, and I'm working on Floyd. Floyd is our 2019 ACE 570 by Polaris. I got the daughter out there spraying it off because it's her machine and she wanted to. And you should always clean them off real good before service. Once she's done with that, I'm gonna clean out the garage, make some space. Those can go out in the barn. And we'll let it dry off, throw it on the lift, and get started. So we're at 125 hours, about 950 miles or so, and just bringing it in for its routine service. This one has a little different service interval than the Pro or the Turbo. Those ones outline at 100 hours do this, and 125 do that. This one just says every 25 hours do this, every 100 hours do this. So it's a little different, but you can figure it out. But the first thing I always do, that's with any machine, is bring it up and check bushings and bearings. And to do that, on this one, it's this, oh boy. It's the same as anything else. And this one, the very first one I checked, is bad. That is bushing. Upper bushing on the rear. Spectacular. Oh my gosh. Bearings on the front. See how I'm telling? This one, you can see this is the knuckle, and that's attached to your A-arms and everything. And this is your half shaft. Now see how I'm moving that? You can see the axle is moving, but that knuckle is staying perfectly still. That's a bearing. Ah, good. This one is exactly the same bearing on that one. Come on, let's go for the perfect score. Yep, perfect score. They're all bad. This one is bushing, the upper bushing. I don't know if you can see that. It's barely moving. This one was a little easier to see. So I'm moving the tire. You can see that movement, and see the knuckle going into that top part. There's some movement there, but the outer part of the half shaft to the knuckle, there's no movement there. That is bushing. On this particular machine, the inner bushings are greasable, the outer ones are not. So it makes sense that the inner ones are okay and the outer ones are bad. So I'll be ordering some bushings to put in there and ordering some bearings to put up there. Stay tuned for the next video on how to do that. Some routine things I'm going to check that you should be checking periodically anyway is brake fluid. That is right behind the front bumper, way up front. I don't know if you can see that, but the fluid level is right pretty much to the bottom of that sticker, middle of the sticker, bottom of that little square guy there. Min is the bottom, max is the top, so we're well within range on that. You should also spin your wheels at this time, looking for any play in your axles, any tears in the boots, things of that nature. These ones are all good. And you should also look at your brake lines here, looking for any wet spots, anything like that. That'll just indicate you might have a leak starting, and you should take a look at them going down. Right, what's that? There is a wet spot right there. Oh, looks like the brake line rubs pretty good right there. I'm gonna take that clip out, tell them with Torx, looks like Torx 20, and make sure I didn't rub through that brake line. That would be terrible. And while I'm at it, I'll turn that slightly so that it goes off at a little gentler of an angle. Same in the back, just spinning that around. looking for any play in the cracks in the boots, anything of that nature. They aren't going to be super tight, you know, they move back and forth. See, ugh, ugly. But what we're looking at is the shaft moving separate from that cup or the tire, and you play that direction, which there is none, and no torn boots. That looks good. I said torque's 20 on this, but it's torque's 25. Good news, it is not rubbed through. That wet spot is from something else, but I'm gonna see about tightening this down like that. Just to make it a little gentler of a corner, won't rub the frame quite so bad. There we go. Next up, we're going to check these brakes, but it's easier if you just take the tires off. You can cheat them with mirrors or look through the rim, but I'm just going to pop those tires off real quick. Well, with the wheels off, you can see the brake pad's nice and easy, and you can see that there is no pad left on the side of this one. Darn it. A little bit on that one. It must have just gone bad because it's still smooth on that side. What do we have over here? Oh man, a smidgen. No, that's at the most a quarter of a smidgen of pad left on those ones. And those are the rears. The fronts are usually worse. Let's see. Oh, we got a half a smidge left. Half a smidge on the front. We got a full smidgen on that one. Oh, looks like I'm doing a brake job on it too. Happy days. Fuel system test. Key is on, so this whole fuel system is pressurized. Now this right here is your fuel rail, and that is your fuel line. And we're looking for any wet spots on it. Now this is where having it dirty comes in handy, because if it were leaking, you'd see a pretty obvious wet mark somewhere on it, but I don't see any. You're especially checking it where it rubs. See how it rubs on that line? Definitely gonna check it there. But nothing's bad there. Then it goes around and feeds over to the other side. And I'm over on the other side at the bottom here. This is your fuel tank. And if you can see my finger, hello, there is the rest of the fuel line. Same thing, you're looking for wet spots and everything. And it goes up underneath the seat, and you can pop the seat off and see the top of the fuel tank through there. When everything's nice and dry, I think we're okay on the fuel. The next part is pretty simple. We have to grease the bushings. I'm only aware of 8 grease points on this machine. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. But I'm just giving that a couple pumps until it starts coming out through the sides. Doing the same thing on all the bushings. And it only says to do this, what, every 50 hours, I think? But more is better in my opinion, because every time you do it, it pushes out just a little bit of crud. And once that water gets in there the first time, it's game over. You're done. You're replacing bushings. So why not grease them every time? It's just that easy to do. It's the exact same procedure on both sides. Normally there's a grease point in the drive shaft, but I don't see any grease point in the drive shaft. Drive shaft, prop shaft. Automotive industry, we call it a drive shaft. In the side-by-side community, we call it a prop shaft. I'm using Lucas Red and Tacky grease. There's a whole world of debate on which one's best, but Red and Tacky seems to be the way to go for me. I haven't had any issues or bad bushings since I started greasing. I will be honest with you, we've had this machine 25 hours, and this is the first time that I've put grease in the bushings. I've got it back on the ground. I'm gonna pull the air filter part and check that out. Well, I'm glad I took that out because it is nasty in there. It's like she sucked in some dirt through the intake, which is up in here. So I'm gonna clean this out, blow this filter out. I'll probably take the filter off once I blow it out and clean it up. Just clean the inside of this box. It's really bad. Ugh. It's bad on the cover too. And this is gonna put some dust in the air. I'm gonna let that air box sit overnight to dry. Just so I'm not putting it back together all nasty and wet. That air filter, I blew it out. I'm gonna use it for a bit more because I don't have another one, but you probably should replace the filter if it's that bad. That was really bad. Saw that garage fill up with dust. Oh my gosh, it was hard to even breathe. So now I'm back up front and I'm looking for the coolant. Which in order to get to it, you have to take off this storage bin, which is 6 of these little push rivets here. And then you pull the whole box out and get to it. Once the front bin's out of the way, reservoir is right here. Remove the cap. There's a seal that falls out. That one. Then you pull this out, which is almost always stuck. I've had to use pliers on it before. And oh, good news, it's completely empty. So that's where you would check it, but since this is dry, I'm going to crack open the radiator and see how bad it is in there. It's not bad, it's right up to the top. So I'll just fill up the reservoir just a little more than full, and then we should be in good shape. I found 2 more grease fittings. I'm up front. Sway bar bushings. They are tight. That's going to be fun to get to. One on the other side as well. They weren't as bad to reach as I thought. Had to get the regular tip grease gun. Send it through the hole in the frame, and you can line it up. Oh. Well, the other side went easy. There it goes. I don't think that has ever been done. Remember earlier when I said there's usually one on the prop shaft? Well, let's just turn this prop shaft. Hey, look. There's a grease fitting. Rear differential, 8mm hex. I'm just going to check the level this time. I'll probably plan on replacing it next time since I don't know when it was done last. But it was supposed to be done at 100 hours. It's supposed to be up to the bottom thread, which that one is. And it looks clean. The front one going from the passenger side, and it is deep in there. I can see it. Can you see it? Right back in there. Yep, right there. You can just see it. I'm gonna get my long extension for that one. That's a pain in the neck, let me tell ya. But it is full. It is clean. And we need to check the radiator and flush that out. It might look clean, but there might be some dirt and stuff stuck behind it. It's always a good idea to just take this whole front bumper off and spray it out with the hose real good. Just a regular hose, not a power washer, and flush that out. I did just have this off and I cleaned it out while I had it apart, back with the whole A-arm tree incident. So I know that that is clean, so I'm not gonna do it this time. Brooke just reminded me, the A-arm, that's the A-arm. Check out the other video for that one. Pretty good wreck. Grease fittings! I found 2 more grease fittings. It makes no mention of those grease fittings in the manual. I just happened to glance up and there they were. So we did all these ones. We did the 2 up front, we did the drive shaft. And then I thought, oh, it's weird that it's got grease fittings for the front sway bar and not the rear. It has them for the rear. There's one right there. And naturally, one right there. And they look dry. I don't think they've ever been greased. So I'm gonna hit those up. As I told you before, we had quite a few things going on. I have all new brakes all the way around, new bearings all the way around, and new bushings on the outers on the rear. I'm hoping that really tightens up all that play that we had and all that clunking, and it should. I'm gonna put the wheels back on and get it back off the lift. It's done, hooray! And I'm tired and dirty and disgusting. I've been working on this all day. But it's 100% ready to go again. Bearings, bushings, brakes, you name it. I would say this is probably one of the most expensive routine services I've ever had to do on one of these machines. But you'll have that. So, we'll see you in another 25 hours. Don't forget to click over here, subscribe to the channel so you can keep up to speed on those. And if you feel I earned it, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Really appreciate it. Alright, we'll see you next time on 3-Day Weekend.